Hello! Welcome to the Kate and Kay Show.
Today we're looking at the 17th book of the Bible, which is
Esther.
And we've got some guests to help us today. We've got our professional beauticians. They've got their masks on and everything, and they're going to come and give us a makeover. Are you ready, girls?
Yes.
How long have you been a beautician for?
For 1 minute.
And how long have you been a beautician for, Hannah?
1 minute.
1 minute. Right, okay, this bodes well. Okay, you ready? On your marks, get set, go.
Are you happy with the look, Betty, that you've given me?
I'm very happy and very proud of myself. 1 minute! Yay! He looks
Are you
amazing.
done right? Shall we have a look? I think I've definitely come off better at it.
I'm enjoying my cheeks a lot. I might consider this blusher on every day again.
And as Jamie Lee Curtis says in My Girl, a girl can never wear too much blue eyeshadow.
Yeah.
Over to Isaac and Philippa, who are going to tell us what on earth this has got to do with the book of Esther.
3 words to describe Esther. Queen, danger, and God protects.
So let's do a quick character breakdown before we start. First of all, we have the king. He's called King Xerxes, but at the moment we'll just call him the king. He's married to Vashti and he loves parties and is pretty much drunk all the time. Next up, we have Esther. She's a Jew. She was brought up by Mordecai, who's her relative. Then we have Haman. He's the bad guy and he's in with the king. And then we have Mordecai. He's a Jew. He's brought up Esther when her parents died. So the king is looking for a new queen. And so he holds a beauty contest and falls in love with Esther, who's one of the competitors, and makes her the new queen. Esther does not reveal her identity as a Jew, as Mordecai told her not to. Mordecai overhears some people plotting to kill the king, and tells Esther, who tells the king, and the 2 people are killed. This event was written down in the Royal Chronicles. The king elevated this guy called Haman to the highest position in the kingdom and demands everyone to kneel before him. Mordecai refuses to kneel, which makes Haman very angry. Haman finds out Mordecai's a Jew and persuades the king to make a law to destroy all the Jewish people. Esther and Mordecai plan to reverse all of this. Esther must go to the king, even though that puts her in danger of death. Mordecai is convinced help will come from somewhere, and he delivers the famous line, "Perhaps you've been made queen for such a time as this." Esther holds a banquet for the king and Haman and invites them to a banquet for the next day. Haman leaves the banquet drunk and sees Mordecai in the streets. He gets really mad and orders a big steak, not the food type, for Mordecai to be impaled on the next day. And now we have a plot twist. The king is finding it hard to sleep, so he gets someone to read the Royal Chronicles to him, in which he hears, "Mordecai saves king's life." The king gasps and goes, "Mordecai, I remember him." Haman comes in to ask for Mordecai's execution. But the king at the same moment asks Haman to honour Mordecai. So Haman leads Mordecai around on a horse, and everyone shouts, "Wow, isn't Mordecai great?" The next day, Esther holds her special banquet, where she tells the king she's a Jew, and Haman is trying to kill her people. The king gets mad and orders Haman to be put on the stake, not the food, that he'd just put up for Mordecai. Now Mordecai issues a decree that Jews are ordered to defend themselves on the day they were meant to be destroyed, and instead destroy their enemies. All the Jews hold a massive banquet to celebrate the new law, and the king elevates Mordecai to Haman's old position, and on the 13th of Adar, all the enemies are destroyed, and everyone's really happy. The end. What I love about this book is although it doesn't actually mention God at all throughout the story, he's still there in the background, and he's working in everything to save his people. The other interesting thing about this book is that the characters aren't held up as moral examples. We're not supposed to copy their behaviour, but they're a model of trust and hope. Even when things get really scary. The big point is that God is working despite all the bad decisions of his people and his not people alike. God placed the right people in the right place at the right time in order to save his people. Esther was there for such a time as she was needed. We see this again in the life and death of Jesus. Through sinful people and those acting out of their own interests to betray and crucify Jesus, God was working to save his people. Even those who were there couldn't see how this could be the way. And like Esther, we can trust in God's providence even when things seem impossible. God is committed to saving his people, redeeming his good world, and overcoming evil.
And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this.
What's the 17th book of the Bible?
Genesis,
Exodus,
Leviticus,
Numbers,
Deuteronomy,
Joshua,
Judges,
Ruth,
1 Samuel,
2 Samuel,
1 Kings,
2 Kings, 1 Chronicles,
2 Chronicles, Ezra,
Nehemiah,
Esther.